I have a birthday today. So I think today we're going to tell a story. We're going to tell a story because Purim is a story. We're going to tell a story because it's a birthday. We're going to tell a story because right now with what's happening in the world, we need a story. We need a story. So here's the story. It's told that Karliner Rebbe had a wagon like the Baal Shem Tov. What was special about the Baal Shem Tov's wagon? It was known. The Baal Shem Tov would sit next to Alexei, his horseman, till the outskirts of Mezhibush, and then they'd turn around facing the Hasidim, and the wagon would go as far as it needed to go and as long as it needed to go. And the Hasidim knew that when it stopped exactly where they needed to be. And it's told that Karliner Rebbe had the same kind of wagon. One day, the Rebbe says to his Hasidim, we're going. And they're on the wagon, and they start traveling. And the sun starts to set, and they're thinking, afternoon, what's happening with Mincha? We need to be davening Mincha, we need to be praying Mincha. And the sun continues to set. And they know the Rebbe knows this, so they're not saying anything, but they're concerned. What's with Mincha? The stars come out. Definitely. What happened to Mincha? And the wagon continues to go. They have no idea where they are because it goes on for hours. Maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, they find themselves in the middle of nowhere, in front of this inn, and the Rebbe says, here we will daven Mincha. And they walk into the inn, and they start davening. Now, Karlin are known for the way they would do somersaults, they scream, they yell, they sing out loud, 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of nowhere, and all the villagers, they hear all the screaming and yelling from the inn, their shorts on fire, they come running with buckets to put out the fire. And you know, it was fire, but not a consuming fire. The Hasidim grab them, put down the buckets, grab their hands, they start dancing together. Day breaks, the Rebbe makes a motion with his hand, and the next thing, the Hasidim, they're on the wagon. The innkeeper is standing there, and the Karliner Rebbe says to him, don't you have something to tell me? And the innkeeper says, I want you to know, today's my birthday. I'm 107 years old. When I was 7, my parents owned the inn. What did they have? All they had was the inn. So for my birthday present, they told me I could stay up as late as I wanted to. And I don't know about you, but I know for myself, when I was a child, I always thought life began after I went to sleep. So here, he also, it appears, thought that life began after he went to sleep. He was ecstatic about this present. He says, in the beginning, it was very exciting. A lot of people and a lot of things were happening. Less people. And I'm so tired. But I'm not going to sleep until the end, until my parents go to sleep. He said, we just finished cleaning up. He said, maybe it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm dying. But the door opens, the Baal Shem Tov walks in with his Hasidim, and he says, it is here that we will daven Mincha. And they start singing and dancing and praying, and the villagers thought that the place was on fire. They come in with their buckets. It was fire, but not a consuming fire. Fire of Mashiach, the villagers and the Hasidim were all dancing together. And day breaks. And my parents and I walk the Baal Shem Tov to the wagon, and he sits on the wagon. And he looks down at me and he says, and he puts his hand on my head, and he says, I want you to know, today you're 7, but in 100 years from now, it's going to be a night like tonight. You're going to finish cleaning up, the door's going to open, a Hasidic master is going to walk in with the Hasidim, and they're going to offer the afternoon prayers, and they're screaming and yelling and they're dancing, and the villagers are going to think it's on fire, and they're going to come with their buckets, and you know what, it's fire, but not a consuming fire. And they're going to dance together until day breaks, and the Rebbe will make a motion with his hand, and the Hasidim will be on the wagon. And then the Baal Shem Tov said to me, when he comes, tell him I was here. I want you to know, we're walking right now in a world, it's not clear what's happening at all. And really what we can offer each other is telling each other that we're here. Purim and Yom Kippurim. The Zohar says that Purim is Yom Kippurim is Kippurim, like Purim. On Yom Kippur, we dress up in white like angels and we go in to a house of prayer. And on Purim, we walk the streets, and the Shekhinah, the divine feminine, and Kutcha B'richu, the one and only, the master of the world, they're in the streets. We're in the streets. Right now, what do we need to do? We need to walk the streets and tell each other, I've been here. I've been waiting for you. I see you. I know you. I've been waiting for you. I bless us to have the strength to walk the streets this Purim, this coming Shabbat, walk the streets and to tell each other, I've been here. I've been waiting for you. Purim Sameach. Shabbat Shalom.